drinking, cause you gotta stay clear to get what Mike is thinking. And Mike's job is just as tough as sit around and figure out when enough is enough. Sunday.
Registered. I saw it. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. There's that. Now I have to plug in the headphones.
Plug in the headphones.
You have your settings correct, unlike the last 6 weeks running?
Was my settings wrong?
I don't know. Sometimes you forget to plug in the headphones.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Sometimes
Headphones are in.
All right. You want to start screaming before I plug this in?
Read all about it. Read all about it.
Still
Ukraine. We
Still,
suddenly are in a world war, possibly. We'll talk about it.
You heard it here first. Suddenly, possibly in a world war.
What do you think? Are we going to be in a world war? Is this going to escalate?
I don't know. My friend, Dickie, he wrote, he's like, I just keep thinking about Norm's line. And who did they declare war on? The world.
Right. Right.
About Germany.
Yeah, Germany.
Germany's been a little disappointing from what I'm hearing. But again, don't trust me as a news source.
What are you talking about? They canceled a $50 billion deal for an oil pipeline into Germany.
No, but I'm talking about strength, military strength and all that. Well, I guess it's our military there, which a lot of critics have said, get out of those countries and move them further east.
All I know is I got an 18-year-old son, and if there's a draft, that motherfucker's going, because in World War II, those guys became men. They came back from Europe, and they went to college, and they bought houses on the GI Bill. They raised families, and they never talked about it.
No,
and that's going to be my son.
It definitely worked out very well for the survivors. Sorry to introduce that element into the equation.
Well,
So by the way, and I'm sticking to my guns on that, if you so to speak, it will be hysterical to watch this culture of entitlement get drafted. What?
Yeah, I know.
Wait a minute. Listen, if you don't mind, that's not really my best self. So I don't think I'm going to go. What's in it for me?
Yeah. Why is he yelling at me? Why is he yelling?
Yeah.
I will march, but you don't need to yell at me.
I think you're asking the wrong person. I wouldn't even wear a mask when you ask me to. You think I'm going to go over there?
Yeah. I can't go over there. I'm not vaccinated. I refuse to get vaccinated.
Yeah. No way, man.
Yeah.
You're taking away my freedom to say no. This is the government once again telling me what to do.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I am almost done with my anthropology major. You need me in this country. That's my son's new thing, anthropology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's the study of how to live off your father's income for the rest of your life.
I got accepted into Boulder because I applied to the anthropology program. And
really?
Keep in mind, there was no internet, so it was very hard for me to explore and vet how easy it was to get out of that department once I got accepted into the school.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's the same thing with sports. They say if you are a good athlete, but you don't want to play sports at the school, what you do is you work it out so they give you an academic scholarship, which they will do, to play sports instead of a sports scholarship. Because then if you stop playing the sport and your grades stay up, you keep the scholarship. But if you get in because of athletics and it's an athletic scholarship and you stop playing, you lose the money.
Ah, interesting.
Yep.
Luckily, I didn't qualify for either. How are you? Where are you? Look at that room.
Isn't it nice? It's a beautiful big suite. It's got 2 giant rooms, and it's
really,
it's in Lexington, Kentucky.
Nice.
The people, I fucking love people from Kentucky. I don't know the whole state because obviously it's a red state, but it's a blue city, Lexington.
Yeah.
And,
no, they had a gay mayor. He may still be mayor. I don't know. He may still be gay.
I haven't met him yet, so I don't know. I'll tell you what my gaydar says. You met him?
Oh, I met him. We shot something with Ben Hoffman, with Wheeler Walker. Well, it was Ben Hoffman, but pre-Wheeler Walker Jr. And we shot a bit because Ben wanted him to give him the key to the city, which we knew he wouldn't. So we brought a key for him and then kept the cameras rolling, saying, "Can you just give this to me? And don't worry, it's on a comedy show." And when we did this whole thing, and he was great.
Wow.
I'm going to ask Wheeler Walker Jr. Where you need a place to go get good food, a good lunch.
No, I just go to the club and then I come back to the room and I masturbate.
Do you need a good place to masturbate if you want to mix it up? There's plenty of good places in Lexington. Ben Hoffman knows that better than anybody.
I do not. I don't really venture out a lot when I'm on the road. Like if I'm in downtown San Francisco, yeah, I'm out all day. New York City, out all day. Denver. But Lexington, Kentucky, not so much.
I had the best fried chicken of my life in Lexington, Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah. I can almost remember the name, not Crawford's. Would you go out? Should I bother him?
No, I'm not going out.
Oh, man, you're so pathetic.
I am.
What hotel are you in?
It's a Embassy Suites hotel. It's part of the Hilton family.
Because, they have that giant hotel in Lexington that's connected to Rupp Arena. And so Rupp Arena is Kentucky's giant, not giant, it's their stadium for basketball.
Okay.
And concerts and all that stuff. But it's on the campus. It's, part of the university. Anyway, I went there and we went there. We were actually staying there. And the lobby, I'm like, this is a bit of a big lobby for Lexington, Kentucky. He's like, no. So this is what's going on. Rupp Arena are through those doors, which are connected to the lobby and the lobby bar, which is very big. And I commented on that also. And he goes, because you cannot drink in any NCAA games, they have figured out how all these alumni can drink by having the doors open to the stadium and they come in here.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm here. I was in, as you know, because last week on Sunday Papers, Doug Stanhope called me, and he's starring in this movie, so they asked me to be in it. So I was in Chicago
Tell
for
me
3
all
days
about
this
it.
week. It was great. I came in. First of all, I get it. People think, oh, I want to be an actor. I want to be an actor. And people go, it's not going to work out. Don't follow your dream. Follow your dream. Because if you get to be an actor, life is so fucking sweet. They pick you up. They feed you whatever you want. There's always somebody there to get you coffee. Everybody's blowing smoke up your ass. They laugh at all your jokes on set. You barely work. It's such a great fucking job.
Oh, my God. Okay.
It's worth it.
Sounds like it went well for you. How do you think it went for them?
Oh, they said none of my takes were usable. But I had so much coffee.
Oh, my
and,
God.
there's PAs on set that are hot and they flirt with you, even though obviously it's nothing, but except them trying to get their next job. But no, of course not. But it's still nice. It's still nice.
They shouldn't populate it with that. I'm with Mike Pence now. Just keep women away from me.
Tell me about it.
What? All right. So it went well. What can you say about it? I mean, Stanhope's one of the most real dudes out there.
Well, this part was not written for him, but it's the guy that did Meet the Parents is doing this movie.
Okay.
And so it's a part for a guy who's a drunken comedian who's been doing it for 30 years and is like dying of alcoholism. And then he meets his son, who's also decided to be a stand-up comedian. And so I play his buddy that he started out with, and we have a few scenes. One's in a comedy club, one's in the comedy condo, and it's good. It's Doug. I mean, he's a good actor. Did you see him in Louie when he did that episode of Louie?
I think I did. Yeah.
He was playing a guy who was going to kill himself.
Yeah.
And so he's very dark. He's very grounded. He's good. And the director was cool about letting us tweak the lines a little bit, which makes things a lot easier. Nice. It was fucking cold as hell. And then I got to see my son because my son lives in Chicago.
How great is that?
Took him and all his roommates out to sushi, saw the apartment, and
Showed them some PAs.
I should have. I should have bought the PA over. Oh my God.
Listen, this isn't creepy because it's not about me, but I'm going to bring you and just sort of expose you and reveal you to some bros. I think there's no harm, no foul there, right?
No. And I want to talk about my son's roommates, but I can't because I don't want to, speak out of school. But I'll tell you off the air. There was some good stories.
Sounds like you just did. Oh, all right.
Good stories.
Nice. Well, good for you, man.
Yeah. And now I'm off to Omaha, Nebraska tonight. If you're hearing this today on a Sunday night, the 27th, I will be at the Waiting Room in Omaha, Nebraska.
The Waiting Room.
It's a rock club.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. That's cool. Good for you, man.
What's going on with your kids?
Olivia, so she's been begging me to watch Euphoria, right? So I watched season 1, and it's obviously incredibly
Not with her.
No. She refuses to do that.
Yeah.
So, but she's older now, and she says she's better at that. Like, we can even watch adults in a regular movie. If they kiss, she actually can sustain that and stay in the room. But she's really been begging me, and she's like, it's the best show on TV. But she was saying that season 1 when I didn't agree. So anyway, I started watching, and she's like, and she would hear me watch, and she'd come out of her room and be like, wait, I'll watch some with you. And she's seen it, she's all caught up, but I'm on episode 1. Anyway, through the first 3 episodes, occasionally, and I didn't do it all at that time, but a couple of sessions watching, she'll just all of a sudden be like, get up. She just knows when the scenes are coming because, as you know, you've seen it, incredibly gratuitous, really graphic.
I say not gratuitous enough.
Oh, God.
No, it is. It is gratuitous, especially since you are depicting teenagers. That's what's really weird about it is
I know.
These are supposed to be 16, 17-year-old girls.
I know.
Yeah.
In fact, there's one scene which is very violent, and a guy demands Zendaya like take her clothes off. I'm not going to give it anyway. You don't need to know the reason, but it was a violent scene, and she's freaking out. And she's like, "I'm in high school," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I'm thinking."
Is that the one where they're in the kitchen and he's a drug dealer? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, and
but
what's her
she
name from
doesn't take her
Baskets?
clothes off.
So I think there was a little spoiler because what's her name from Baskets, the comedian?
Martha.
Okay. So Martha's incredibly. So I see
She's
Martha.
amazing in it. She's so good.
Well, don't spoil because this will spoil it a little, but just generally, not. I will give no specifics away. But I see Martha and I pause, and I go to Olivia. I'm like, oh my God! So she's in Zach's Baskets, and she's a stand-up, and I go, you've met her like at Zach's, like at his kid's birthday party. I'm like, she's exactly like that. Like,
yes.
Oh hey.
Yeah.
Oh, how are you? I'm like, and Olivia's looking at me wide-eyed, and I'm like, and I think she's not believing me. I'm like, no, like that, like it's kind of like that's her. And Olivia just looks at me, I mean, with such a grave expression on her face, and just goes, "She's a monster." And I'm like, okay, I think I better buckle up because. Yeah. And then there was one line, and she delivered it in the Martha way. Like it was, I think you've seen that episode. Oh, it was at the end of the kitchen scene.
Yeah.
She's like, okay. And I'll try not to give anything away, but she goes, okay, just know that thing you're taking, like if I don't get that back, I will have you kidnapped and sold to very terrible people who will do unspeakable things to you. Okay. Just know I always get my money back.
Yeah. And you know who's great is Judd Apatow's daughter is in it. And thank God she's not nude at any point because Judd's a dear friend, and that would be very awkward.
Yeah. But I would say, I mean, I didn't think you watched any of this season. The first, I'm in love with the drug dealer. The
guy who low talks?
Yes.
Oh, God.
He's my favorite character on television.
So pretentious.
No. wait, this will help you. I start saying that. Olivia pauses and goes, have you seen interviews with him? They saw him walking on the street and they hired him.
What city did he grow up in? Because I don't get that accent he's going for.
I don't know. From what my daughter tells me, they saw this fucking guy walking on the street. And when he gives interviews, that's exactly how he speaks. It's like Martha.
Really? All right.
I knew I think he's a genuine character.
Okay.
And
Angus
his
Cloud is the guy's
backstory-
name, and he's from Oakland, it says. That's what... look at Chris Denman had some fucking coffee this morning. He's doing some research, baby.
He's on it. And all I'll tell you, man, is Euphoria has gotten confident. I mean, it is full. That first 10 minutes of this season where the drug dealer's grandma goes into the strip club, it's full on Martin Scorsese with just action, violence, to the most incredible soundtrack.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the soundtrack. All right, well, listen, this isn't the entertainment section. We haven't even done the top stories yet. We want to give a shout-out to Scott Cooper. This week's song was fucking awesome, Scott.
Yep.
Nice job, man.
Very cool.
And then this week's logo is amazing. Wait a minute.
Yeah, family-friendly podcast.
Yeah,
So
that
much
might...
for that.
Is that a thing of the past? It is, right?
Yeah, you're talking about wanting to see more gratuitous sex in
From
Euphoria. I think
teenagers,
out of the
yeah.
gate.
Yeah, that's not good. And then I think Kyle did this week's logo, but I can't remember.
Oh no, give him credit.
All right, we'll just say. Let me just double check. I hate to not give him credit because it's such a
How
nice
about this?
job.
Say thank you and leave it blank, and then at the end of the podcast, you'll say the name, and poor Key will edit in your audio right there.
All right, I'll say it's Kyle Spencer unless we change it later. All right.
So are you gonna say it?
All right. This week's is by, and man, does she do a good job.
And Key should keep all of this, but just crudely paste in the name.
By the way, I don't want to sound sexist. We have yet to get a song from a woman. Come on, ladies, step it up.
That's not true at all.
What woman sent us a song?
Lisa sent one early on, and it got very high marks.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then we get a lot of logos. Melanie sends us logos. Yeah, a bunch of people. All right, corrections. Let's get to it. Oh, you got a paper there, Mike? I don't.
I have Jeez, no. I stopped. I'm paperless now. The
Hold
LA
on.
Times, it was a guilt pie. I got this.
There
Oh,
you
that's
go. That sounds
good.
good.
Sounding legal. What's written on this? Oh man, notes. I don't even know
Notes
what
for a
these notes
pitch. Stay
Uh,
confident. Smile. Ask
Nope.
them if you
are.
can
And then
wash their
there's
car.
Sophie would always give me shopping list for food.
Oh.
Gluten-free plain bagels, sliced cheddar cheese, arugula, avocados, bananas, cold brew. Listen to this fucking. You think she's going to war? Gluten-free frozen waffles, egg whites. What? Are you kidding me? Brussels sprouts, French liquid hand soap. This is America right here. This is soft America.
And don't forget to call my therapist.
Yeah, totally. Does Ukraine have Wi-Fi? Do they have 5G?
Now, are those mud masks? Are those soldiers actually in the mud? Because I don't know about.
Yeah. Do we work out in the mud also? Because I pay a lot of money for that. Do they have goats there for yoga? Such a Los Angeles approach to war. Ooh, Russians have good baths, right?
Yeah. Wait a minute. The Russians aren't wearing masks. I thought we had rules with this war.
Oh, man. All right.
All right. So, correction. Confession, penance. This is from Stephen Blackwood, who sounds like he's a good Catholic. Confession comes before communion, the Eucharist. You had them reversed.
Oh, he's right.
Penance goes first because you have to be free of sin before receiving communion. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, obviously, because you're born a dirty, filthy animal before they put magic water on you.
Original sin. Not like that new sin. Original sin.
Yep.
Adam and Eve sin. What would you do? I mean, here you are. You're dropped down into this a garden. You're in a garden, and you're naked with this chick who's, you don't know if she's hot. You've never seen another woman. But you're certainly responding to her breasts and vaginae. And what do? Oh, wait, it's an apple. I guess the apple was a symbolism for them having sex. Can we guess?
No.
They weren't supposed to eat the apple? I know they had to have sex because they were going to
tempting-
populate the
no,
world.
it's tempting fruit. The apple was what instigated. Oh God, we're really going to get a lot of mail now. But I mean, they were not supposed to eat the apple.
But do you
And it
think that's a
tempted them.
metaphor for anal sex?
Oh, we went there? I don't know. Also, isn't he like, you look a lot like my rib?
Yeah, right. This feels a little bit incestuous. You're me. I'm going to have sex with you. I might as well just masturbate.
I guess I'm going to have sex with a little part of me? Is that what's going on here? All right. It's kind of like masturbation.
What if God accidentally made Adam gay? That would be a great sitcom.
Oh, and he won't even take one for the team?
Nope. He tries.
Wow.
He tries, but he just can't get it going.
He's got to try harder because the only way he's going to get other dudes is by doing it.
That's right.
I mean, she's the gatekeeper.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So this
But yeah, we all have to keep in mind she was a slut. She's the one that tempted him.
That's right.
She ate the apple first, I believe. Adam was just trying to keep it on the down low. He was just, he was tending the garden, and then she just fucked everything up.
And the snake was the one putting ideas in her head, and the snake was the devil. So, blame the snake. It's not
I think
her.
we have about 30% of this right. So,
right.
This made-up story.
This next one is about, let me start off with age. Number 1, both old. 2,
Okay.
getting older fast. Thank you.
Oh.
Nice way to start a note.
All right.
Now, the topic. Each of your knowledge and passion of NFL is legitimately honest and full of bullshit. Number 1, Rams versus Bengals, home field Super Bowl. Number 2, Tampa Bay versus Chiefs, home field Super Bowl. All right, we said that. And then Stanford Stadium, 1984, 49ers versus Dolphins. That was the first home field Super Bowl. 40 miles south of San Francisco. Yeah, but I don't believe that was their home stadium at the time. I think it was in their
didn't count
area.
as a home team. Who wrote this?
Oh, Chris Denman chiming in.
Who wrote this?
I don't know. I forgot to write the name down.
Well, first of all, it's Bengals versus Rams if you're calling it a home field Super Bowl. And it's the Chiefs versus Tampa Bay, not the other way around. You put the home team second.
That's right. So
there's the sports I know.
And then, okay. Dates coming up, like I said, tonight in Omaha. Next weekend, Baltimore, March 3rd through 5th, I will be at Magoobies. That is correct.
Magoobies.
It's called Magoobies. St. Patrick's Day show. We will not have Mike Gibbons this year. We'll be March 17th at the Hollywood Improv. And then we got dates coming up in Spokane, New Orleans, Lafayette, Louisiana, and Tacoma. Go to
Busy boy. Wow.
Well,
look at
I
you.
got to pay the rent, baby.
You got to pay the rent. You got to masturbate and not see any of the sights.
All right. Fitzdog.com for tickets. Here talking about sights. Oh my God. How about the sight of a green lawn? Is there anything that's more inviting? Is there anything that consistently gives you a good feeling than coming back to your own home and having a green lawn? Spring's almost here. It's time to get those seeds in the ground. It's time to get the right fertilizer on top of those seeds so that you can produce the green lawn that you deserve.
Yeah, I like it. And you use, well, where we are, water is really a big currency. You use less water because your lawn is healthy without overwatering and without the chemicals and all that stuff.
Well, Sunday can help you grow a beautiful lawn without the guesswork or the nasty chemicals. My lawn is, it's not a big lawn. I live in Venice Beach. The houses are small. The lawns are small. And but that doesn't matter. I get my packages, just a pouch. I throw it on the hose. Bam, bam, bam. In no time, I am turning. And here's the great thing about it is it's all natural stuff. I have dogs, and my dogs can't eat chemical fertilizers or they could die. They use stuff like seaweed, iron, molasses, stuff that kids and pets can be around.
You said you throw your pouch on the hose. Let me just get by that. Also, they know that your soil is mostly sand.
Right. That's right.
They know, they have read your, your soil. They know what part of the country you live in. They know where you are and what you need.
Yes, you give them your address, and they figure it all out for you. They know your climate. They know your soil. So all you got to do is visit Sunday.com, put in your address, and the analysis tool does the rest. Best of all, it really works, people. And Sunday is offering our listeners 20% off. Full season plans start at just $119. That's nothing for a beautiful lawn. And you can get 20% off when you visit getsunday.com/papers20, the number 20 at checkout. That's 20% off your custom plan at getsunday.com/papers20. Okay. The other thing we want to talk to you about is something that Mike and I have both benefited from, which is life insurance.
Yeah,
if you don't have it, come on. Mike,
are you waiting for me to say something?
Well, I just wanted to say that the comfort of going to bed at night when you have kids and knowing that, God forbid, something happens, that the mortgage, your loss of income is going to be taken care of for a while, depending on how much you take out. Now, I took out a $1 million policy, and I know that sounds like a lot of money, but you have to understand that after my wife is accustomed to a certain way of living, and with that failure and disappointment, there should be a payoff someday.
Mine's $2 million. So look at how I valued myself.
Wow.
But I always bet the under. So I think there's a legitimate chance that money will get realized when I did it back then. And also, I got good advice that what seems like a lot now, let's say it's 15 years, 20 years down the road, it's not as much.
Right.
You have to factor that in as well. But it's an amazing bet. I hate to call it that. Maybe I'm not supposed to call it that. But it's like for very little money, you are absolutely providing security.
Right. So, and the best way to do it is Policy Genius. It's a one-stop shop to find and buy the insurance you need. You click on the link in the description or head to policygenius.com and answer a few questions. In minutes, you can compare personalized quotes from top companies to find your lowest price. You could save 50% or more on life insurance by comparing quotes with Policy Genius. The team of licensed experts at Policy Genius, by the way, they're a broker. They're not the insurance company. They help you understand your options and apply for the policy you choose. The Policy Genius team works for you, not the insurance companies. You can trust them to offer unbiased help and advocate for you at every step until you're covered. So
they don't add on extra fees or anything like. I remember when I first moved to Los Angeles, I'm like, oh my God, now I have to deal with car insurance. I was coming from New York. Anyway, I remember everyone. I won't say the name, but there was an insurance like hunter like this, and they then did the shopping and comparing for you, and everyone told me to use that, and I got the lowest insurance that way.
No, and Policy Genius has helped over 30 million people. 30 million people. They've placed over $120 billion in coverage, so this is the place to go. Head to policygenius.com to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save.
Just check it out. If you're on the fence, I mean, get it. As you said, you sleep more securely and all that, but like
Yeah.
you take care of loved ones, even if you don't have kids or whatever, you could take care of all the expenses you're going to cause
Right.
by kicking it.
Yep. And finally, let's talk about Just Egg. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
I'm using them.
They sent you sample, right?
Yep. I got the frozen one and the liquid one in the bottle.
Yep.
Love it.
It's plant-based, and it tastes, in my mind, better than egg. Sometimes I find egg is too much for me. It's
All right, what do you do with it? What do you do with it?
well, there's frozen squares, these patties. I take it, I throw it in the toaster for 8 minutes. I take it out, I put it on an English muffin with a little bit of cheese, and it's better than an Egg McMuffin. It's smoother. I love the consistency. It's got the consistency of eggs. You wouldn't know you weren't eating an egg, but this is you don't have to clean a pan when you're done. It's amazing.
I got my frozen chicken sausage. Cut that up, throw it in the first, put it in the pan a little, softens up, cut it up, get that going, some onion, mushrooms if I have them, and then did I say onion? A little bit of onion. Anyway, I basically start that scramble and then pour it in right from the bottle, and I am done in minutes.
So there's two different ways to eat it. Just Egg it's cholesterol free, it's plant based, and it makes really fluffy eggs when you scramble it.
Yep. And
So-
at the last minute, if I'm feeling a little extra, I put spinach on it, which quickly reduces. You know what I
Ooh.
mean? Yeah. It's
Hey
amazing.
now.
Then I top it with feta, and I'm off to the races.
And Just Egg is packed with cholesterol-lowering polyunsaturated fat chicken eggs. Wish they were this healthy. So and also you're helping save the planet. So think about that too. It's a whole save the environment kind of thing. So welcome to the golden era of eggs. Just Egg, really good eggs. Okay. Should we get to the
All
front page?
Oh my God, here we go.
Extra! Extra! Read all about it! Extra!
Okay. Well, I don't know. Hard to avoid World War III. But here, on a positive note, it was weird how comforted I was by this headline. Hacking Collective Anonymous declares cyber war against Vladimir Putin's government. The elusive computer experts issued the stark announcement on their Twitter account on Thursday evening. They said shortly before 10 p.m., quote, the Anonymous Collective is officially in cyber war against the Russian government. Around 30 minutes later, they announced that they had taken down the website of the Kremlin-backed TV channel RT, which broadcasts in Britain and has been heavily criticized for its coverage. So, to me, all right, listen, I'm sure there's a lot of negative things you could say about
I just want to say
Anonymous.
right off the bat, I think it's amazing that alcoholics can be this high functioning.
That's why we love them.
Finally,
They're lovable.
Finally, they're done with those annoying 12 steps and asking for forgiveness and doing something.
Like Russia, they don't believe in God either. You know, I mean, no, they do. Sorry. Unlike Russia, they believe in a higher power. They're humble. They're vulnerable. But there is something comfort. Like I view them kind of like Batman. Like we don't know their identity, but they're just going to come in and get things done. They're going to be this vigilante force that comes in and hopefully fights the bad guys all the time. And in this case, I think they are.
Think about how many nerdy guys are sitting in bars right now trying to get pussy going, yeah, I'm an anonymous. I did it. Those are the warriors. I mean, think about it. Like a foot soldier versus a guy that can take out the communication systems of the Russians. Like, who's the badass soldier now?
Oh, they could take out, all of a sudden they can cut off their pipeline of oil.
Right.
I mean, like, if you think about what the cyber hackers did to, the companies here in America, like the energy companies and stuff, I mean, they could shut off, conceivably, they could shut off power in Russia.
Well, are you worried that this will cause the Russians, because the Russians and the Chinese have better hacking than we do. I think the North Korean have better hacking than we do. Are you worried about the The blowback from Russia?
First of all, I'm not positive I buy into the premise that they have better hacking. They've flexed it more. They've used it more. They've done more illegal activity, and maybe they are better. I don't know, but
all right. But assuming they're very good, are you
also,
concerned that like your balances in your bank are going to just?
Are you saying Anonymous is exclusively American?
Oh, I didn't think about that. I always thought of Anonymous as American, maybe because the name is in English. But maybe you're right. I guess it's probably international.
I think it is. I think it very much is. And I think the best of the best, hopefully, will answer the call out and the call up, as they say, and fight the fight. I guess I think maybe they'll have some of the best ones. Also, a lot of hackers, a lot of unbelievably skilled. We'll use the word hackers, but let's just generically say computer programmers and computer guys and girls are paid handsomely in America not to hack,
right?
To ruin your lives through Facebook, or whatever, creating algorithms here, and they get paid handsomely. And so I think those people are very gifted, and who knows if they'll lend a hand. I don't know.
Well, I just hope that Russia doesn't retaliate and cut off like X-Hamster or Russian backroom casting or something like that, because that'll cripple us. That's going to bring us to our knees.
I think there's a general global agreement not to take down X-Hamster. That's just a gentleman's agreement across all boundaries.
Yeah.
All conflicts, all wars.
Right, because at the end of the day of being out on the street, shooting, throwing Molotov cocktails, a man's got to unwind with a good pair of feet.
Oh, no.
Hey, what's the deal with this ghost you were telling me about?
You haven't heard of the ghost of Kiev?
Just briefly, yeah.
Okay, so it's all right. The Ukraine resistance has given rise to the ghost of Kiev, a fighter pilot who may or may not be real and who has shot down 6 Russian planes, allegedly. Such a superhuman legend symbolizes Ukraine's people this terrible week. So anyway, there's all this speculation, and then now a new rumor was that the ghost of Kiev is a woman pilot.
Oh,
And so-
that makes it sexier.
Really, to me, it ruined it. Like, now I don't believe in the ghost of Kiev. It just doesn't make any sense. But in their defense, their evidence was footage showing that she couldn't park the plane to save her life. You have to keep in mind, the most famous female pilot in the world, Amelia Earhart, didn't make it to her destination. She ran out of fuel and crashed into the Pacific and drowned. That's the official determination on what happened to her. Oh, I hate to laugh, but it's true.
Yeah, I never really thought about that. And they're going to find Amelia Earhart's planes buried in the Pacific somewhere, and the left blinker is still going to be on.
I mean, the dudes have Red Baron. They have the guy who landed in the Hudson, Sully. They have a bazillion, a bazillion examples. Except John McCain. John McCain drove a plane like a woman. I think he crashed 3 of them.
Did he?
Oh, yeah, famously. And Trump called him out on it.
Or Harrison Ford.
Who crashed right here on the golf course.
He crashed 3 times also. He's crashed 3 planes.
No.
Yeah, he crashed on the golf course you and I play on Penn Mar.
Yeah.
And then 2 other times.
Han Solo crashed 3 planes.
Yeah, right. Maybe Solo should get a co-pilot and call himself Duo. Get a little help up there.
Chewbacca, man.
All right. Now, Chewbacca, here's what I love about Chewbacca, is like sometimes
I'm listening.
Sometimes he was treated like a military genius. Like he was the guy making the action plan. And other times he was like a pet. They had him on like a leash, eating out of
he's
a
a
bowl.
primate.
Yeah. Which is it?
It can be both, Greg. I don't like your black and white thinking.
Right.
Ukrainian TV broadcast instructions. This is on TV for all Ukrainian citizens to see on how to make a Molotov cocktail. As Ukrainian leaders urge residents to stand their ground and resist Russia's invasion, one television channel broadcast instructions on how to make Molotov cocktails. This happened Friday. The TV segment showed a person creating the makeshift explosive, pouring colored liquid into the glass bottle with a diagram on the side showing how to stopper the bottle with a cloth wick. Earlier Friday, the Ukrainian defense minister tweeted that citizens should make, quote, make Molotov cocktails and take down the occupier. And this is as Russian forces were getting closer to Kiev, which, as we are talking on Saturday midday, there's firing and there is war going on in Kiev now. But to me, I just pointed this out because I don't think there's a war image that more illustrates the underdog than somebody throwing a Molotov cocktail.
Right.
It's literally one of its nicknames is the poor man's grenade. I also read that sometimes it's called Molly, and I think if Ukrainian TV station called their segment "How to Make Molly," maybe the whole war would have stopped and everyone would have tuned in.
Right. Yeah.
But the history is appropriate. I looked it up. The name Molotov cocktail was coined by the Finns during the Winter War, called Molotovin koktali, whatever, in Finnish. The name was a pejorative reference to the Soviet foreign minister, Molotov, who was one of the architects of the pact signed in blah, blah, blah. The name's origin came from the propaganda Molotov produced during the Winter War, mainly his declaration on Soviet state radio that bombing missions over Finland were actually airborne humanitarian food deliveries for their starving neighbors. As a result, the Finns sarcastically dubbed the Soviet cluster bombs Molotov breadbaskets, in reference to Molotov's propaganda broadcast. When the handheld bottle firebomb was developed to attack and destroy Soviet tanks, the Finns called it the Molotov cocktail as, quote, a drink to go with his food parcels. So there's such parallels here.
Yeah, I mean, the misinformation coming out of Russia right now about what they're doing, and they control the media in Russia, so a lot of Russia, I mean, there's a lot of people rising up. A bunch of people were arrested in Russia for protesting, but for the most part, people are believing that the Ukrainians want to be freed and that we're freeing them from these fascist dictators.
And Nazism, don't forget that.
Yeah, right.
So bizarre. You have a Jewish actor as the leader of Ukraine, and you're pulling that line.
I know. He was a fucking comedian.
I know.
What's his name? Zelensky. He was a fucking comedian. Like literally 3 years ago, he was on TV playing a president in a satirical TV show. So there's hope for me. I may be in Lexington, Kentucky right now telling dick jokes on the Late Show Friday to a bunch of bourbon drunk fucking lunatics. But in 2 years, I could be your leader, people.
Wouldn't that be lovely? Except you would have fled the country already. You would have had some green screen. Listen, I'm still here. I promise you.
Yeah, right. I will be, and I will continue. Here's my pledge to you as a leader. I will continue doing stand-up comedy when I become the president. I will work that. I will work a day job and a night job.
That'd be an interesting open mic at this point in that invasion.
So,
in other political news, Biden announces Katanji Brown Jackson as his Supreme Court pick. Mr. Biden formally announced Jackson, who's 51, as his pick during an event at the White House, setting in motion a confirmation battle in the Senate that will play out amid Democrats' efforts to maintain their majorities in Congress in November's midterm elections. I think he's getting criticized for this, too. And I think he was like, oh, Putin invaded Ukraine? Katanji, throw on a dress and get down here quick.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We're going to start. He's going to finally get some things accomplished in this country. We'll see. But, it was Tucker Carlson, of course, fucking jumps in and starts maligning her and starts saying that it's an attempt to defile the Supreme Court and humiliate and degrade the U.S. He is such a piece of shit.
You mean by getting someone who has way more experience than, for example, the last nominee?
Oh no, he was saying that she doesn't have experience. She has 8 years of judicial experience, which is more than 4 of the sitting judges combined had before they became judges, and more than Kavanaugh, and more than what's her name?
Oh, of course, Barrett Colmy or whatever.
Yeah, Barrett Colmy.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, it's already. By the way, if that's your barometer, the court's already been disgraced, Tucker. You're way too late.
And also, he's saying that she was nominated, quote, because of how she looks. Do you want to live in that country? Most people don't. They think you should be elevated in America based on what you do, not on how you were born, not your DNA. Meanwhile, Reagan famously picked a woman and installed Sandra Day O'Connor. Trump promised to pick a woman to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg and put in Amy Coney Barrett, who is a hardcore Catholic, which was no fucking accident. So it's so disingenuous to say that this is wrong for him to be, trying to create some diversity on the court.
He's a joke. He really is just a joke.
He's gotten meaner, hasn't he?
How does he do you know how was it Belarus? Remember, all he could do is talk up what was going on up there. And also, listen, this is the thing. I don't want to get political because I turned on Fox News during this invasion. All they are doing is talking politics. There's not really even war coverage. It's Putin is weak. Oh my God, he's threatening sanctions. What about real sanctions? And this never would have happened under Trump. All they're doing is talking politics.
Yeah,
while
it's gross.
We are on the brink of war.
Yeah, it's gross.
NATO that Trump tried to dismantle. I mean, do you know what CNN that if they wanted to talk about how this was all in large part facilitated by Trump's policies? How about when Trump blackmailed Zelensky and is withholding arms?
Right.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah. Why do you think they're using Molotov cocktails? Because they didn't cough up dirt on Hunter Biden. So here's another story. A former Louisiana middle school teacher has been sentenced to 40 years behind bars after admitting she fed students cupcakes. That sounds nice. Laced with the sperm of her ex-husband. Hey now. She was sentenced
the powdered sugar on top. That's a little treat.
Yeah, a little powdered sugar, but little salty, Miss Hanson, Miss Perkins. She was sentenced to 40 years of hard labor without the possibility of parole. That's insane.
Wait, what?
Yeah, 40 years of hard labor. Well, she was also complicit in her husband raped a kid and she helped him.
Oh,
but I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on the cupcake part of the story because it's cuter. I wonder if when they arrested the husband, do you think when he gave his sperm sample, did they just give him cupcake tins to try to get it in there to help him out?
I'm not in school. It's like Susan's really pounding those cupcakes. Susan's like, OMG, these taste just like my uncle's scones. They also taste just like the communion wafers at church. What is the secret ingredient?
And you got to be careful because when you're blowing out the candles, when you're blowing on it, sometimes it shoots in your face.
Okay. Family friendly. Maybe we shouldn't use that logo.
The old bait and switch.
I'd say a big switch and a lot of talk about baiting.
All right, let's go to something more upbeat. A former criminal justice major and college cheerleader was convicted in the killings of 3 Florida prostitutes more than 15 years ago.
Whoa.
He was linked by DNA evidence to the 3 victims. This guy, Robert Hayes, showed no this is the part I love. He showed no reaction as the clerk read the jury's verdict Tuesday evening. And it's likely he'll get the death penalty. What did they expect? He's a cheerleader, so he's going to jump up and do a cartwheel and go, Guilty, 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 die, die, die.
I think he was just disheartened because all his cheers for defense did nothing with his defense lawyers. They couldn't produce.
Yeah, it just is so weird because you think of cheerleaders as being like so positive.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the other cheerleaders like sensed from him a darker side, like maybe they would throw a cheerleader in the air and he would purposely drop her, call her a whore.
Maybe he killed these 3 prostitutes with positivity. It was just unrelenting cheers.
Yeah. He beat them with
Drove them.
pom-poms.
Yeah. But I am starting to question cheerleaders in general because it's my favorite cheerleader from the show Cheer is now a convicted sex offender and predator.
Oh, that's right. Right.
Undoubtedly my favorite one.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of late to that show, but everyone was already talking about that guy. I couldn't believe with that guy's background and everything how truly positive he was, and I just admired his attitude. And then I just saw Cheer. I was going to say I saw a documentary on it, but the show Cheer this season addressed it. They did not shy away from it. They went
Damn.
all in
Wow.
on how they learned about it and how, absolutely mortified they are.
Can you imagine the producers when they found out that news? Holy shit. Listen to
That's
me. How about the parents? How about me being more concerned about the fucking producers than the parents?
Oh, I know. Well, so the parent is on the show. They talked to her the whole time.
The parent of the victim or the parent of the predator?
Yeah, of her 2 boys. I think they were twin boys. And one of them was the victim, actually.
Jesus.
Maybe both in a way, but one was the one who experienced something physical with him. Yeah. It's interesting watch for sure because just coming from a show, trust me, the first advice the producers on that show probably got was you cannot address this.
Yeah, right.
You're going to do no good addressing it, maybe was what they were told. Also, you could maybe even get in trouble if you address it. And I think they did the right thing by addressing it.
I want to address this.
Uh-oh.
Couple of twins. Brianna.
Speaking of twins.
First of all, if you have twins, do you name them Brianna and Brittany?
You do if they're these freaks.
If you have 2 male twins, do you name them Josh and Jeremy?
How about dressing twins the exact same? Is that like, are they toys? Did you grow up with any twins?
Yes.
2 of my best friends, I won't say their last name, were Joseph and Anthony in Eastchester, of course. Anthony. And they were dressed the same all through grammar school.
Yeah.
What? Like, what?
I know. I knew we had 2 sets of twins and 1 set of triplets in my town. And they all dress the same.
Well, they don't dress the same.
Right.
Just begin with, they are being told exactly what to wear. And by definition, at least one of them doesn't have a choice.
Yeah. I wonder if the Sklar brothers were dressed similarly as kids.
Now they just do it themselves.
They do have a similar style, that's for sure. And they also keep their hair the same, but usually, like Randy will wear a goatee, which helps you sometimes.
Yeah.
No, wait, Randy wears glasses. I forget. I
Right.
know them when I
That's
see
the
them.
problem.
I know them when I see them, but I always forget like who's got the glasses. But anyway,
A friend of ours has twins, friends. I'll just say they went to Arizona State. And one's gay. So that helps so much.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, it's like I know who I'm meeting instantly.
right.
You know, if I'm all of a sudden I have a tongue down my throat, I know it's Rick.
So anyway, these 2 sets of twins meet each other, and they said they felt like the men had just walked out of our twin dreams. The twin couples had a double proposal, double wedding, and gave birth to children 9 months apart. Brittany told USA Today they have quaternary twins, which is when 2 children are born less than 9 months apart to identical twin mothers and identical twin fathers. They say their children are more than first cousins. They are full genetic siblings. So in other words, their genetics of the 4 kids are as if they're brothers and sisters.
We got it. You're inbred. Why flex it?
Right. Isn't this how the royal family got started?
You're also freaks. I bet all they do is go to Disney World. This is the profile of someone that does something like that.
Oh, no. Listen to the rest. They met at the annual Twins Day Festival in Twinsburg, Ohio.
I would have guessed Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities, where they do research on twins. I'm not even making that up, but go ahead.
Joint engagement at a park called Twin Lakes.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes on. And they all live in the same house together right now, all 6 of them.
And if they have slight little gay kids, maybe it'll be called twinks.
Hey.
See? That's the root of that word. That's crazy.
I guess it's a good household to live in if you need like a kidney transplant or stem cells or something.
I say they're not. I think they should medically, like surgically, conjoin their kids. Just go all the way, even if they're not conjoined at birth.
All
conjoin them.
All 4.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Conjoin them. Listen, what families do together, they stay together. I mean, just do it.
Right,
I mean, come on.
Right. Yeah. Here's a story about another child who is a badass motherfucker as far as I'm concerned. At police officers... Oh, wait, I missed the beginning. A 4-year-old opened fire at police officers after his father told him to as he was being taken into custody, Utah police said. A man received an incorrect order after going through a McDonald's drive-thru Monday afternoon and then brandished a firearm at the employees.
I get it. It's frustrating. It is frustrating.
You
don't get when they put the cheese on, he said no.
Yeah. Hold the pickles, hold the lettuce. Don't upset us. Employees called police, who said the man refused to exit the vehicle and had to be pulled from the car. While they were taking him into custody, an officer turned back towards the vehicle and saw a gun pointing out the rear window. The officer vocalized to other officers there was a gun while swiping the gun to the side as a round was fired from the gun. Officer sustained a minor injury, realized it was a child who fired, and alerted other officers. So the 4-year-old was in the backseat with a 3-year-old. So, I mean, look, this is, depending on what state you're in, crawl your ground laws are in effect.
Is that what it is? Crawl your ground?
Yeah.
Back to Euphoria. Watch season 2? Watch the first episode, the first 20 minutes. This is like Ash, that little kid.
Yeah.
The drug dealers associate. I mean, it's like that. I'm not even kidding you. It's like that kid has been prepared way too early.
By the mother, right? Or the grandmother.
Well, he did. It's a parallel. The grandmother brought him in and like, what kind of person brings a kid to a drug deal? And he's like, he's my associate.
No, partner.
And then, partner, right.
Yeah.
And then he says the same thing when confronted when he brought Ash.
Right.
Which, by the way, the name Ash, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm in, man.
I'm in.
I know it's over the top. Once you accept the show's over the top, you'll enjoy it a lot more. That's been my experience.
Now, what happens to a 4-year-old who has attempted murder?
Yeah.
Do you try him as an adult?
I don't even know if they would call it can a child attempt murder? Like, there's always those little details. I don't know. Did he fully comprehend he would take the life of someone if he shot them?
Yeah.
I have no idea, but it wasn't a Happy Meal that day. Does this Happy Meal come with ammo in the box? Is there a little package of ammo?
Right. Let's do some news for Gubbins. Good news for Gubbins.
Oh, here, wait, new section. Okay, this is an interesting good news for Gubbins. Where is good news for Gubbins? Where am I in this document? Where 4-year-old opened fire?
Right
here we go.
It.
Tennessee state parks seek volunteers for annual weed wrangle on March 5th.
Gubbins!
But hold on. Here's the good news for Gubbins. We are going to inform him right now. Unpack those duffel bags. This is part of a national effort to remove invasive plants from public spaces. It has nothing to do with your beloved sticky icky.
Oh,
It's
Dennis.
just, is that even a phrase still?
This is like his vaccination wrangle back in 2021, remember?
Oh, and then his booster wrangle in 2022?
Yeah. I mean, like weeds, he just pulls poor people out of the way when he's going after his vaccinations.
It's a massive clearing. Clear it.
Yeah.
Throw it out. That's the government's. All right, here we go. Entertainment.
Let's do some entertainment.
There, that's good paper crinkle right there.
All right, so we have met long and hard and discussed this situation. Gibbons, for some reason, the producers at The Bachelor have not seen fit to cast Dennis as The Bachelor. And so we, in all of our genius, and when I say we, Chris Denman had this idea. Why not?
Award-winning producer. Award-winning producer.
Award-winning. By the way, shout out to Chris Denman, who won an NAACP Image Award this year for producing a show that he does with Sherry Shepard and Kim. What's Kim's last name? He's going to write it for
Good question.
us.
He'll drop the ball.
He's not even paying attention. He's busy working on he's polishing his award right now.
He's busy yucking it up with his MAGA friends like, look what award I won.
Yeah. He is Kim Whitley. That's right, Kim Whitley. Very funny. So anyway, he had this idea of us doing The Bachelor on Sunday papers featuring Dennis Gibbons. What we need from you, the listeners, are females that might be attracted to Dennis Gibbons. Let's paint a picture. Red hair.
Okay, there you go.
Freckles.
You mean also some red hair on his belly? No. Good-looking guy, amazing athlete, even better dancer.
Great dancer.
I've told the story before. I've been at weddings with him where women, zero of this is exaggeration, women come to the dance floor to watch him dance with another woman. And then I was next to someone, this really beautiful girl. I mean, I say girl to distinguish her. She was probably in her 30s. And she said, is he your friend? And I was like, yeah. She's like, do you mind if I ask him for a dance? And I was like, oh my God, this is going to blow Dennis's mind. So I waved Dennis over and he comes over. I'm like, this woman is interested in a dance. And she goes, would you mind dancing with my mother? She has watched, swear to God, every syllable of that is true. Every syllable of that is true.
Yeah, Dennis has a charisma. He's the life of the party. Women love him. He's
hysterical.
He's hysterical. He's a decent golfer. I would not suggest a golf date early on. You might see a side of him that is not really his true self. It's his golf self and his volleyball self and his soccer self.
And he's a good soul. He's a good soul.
Yeah, he's a good soul. And
from Northern California. Really.
And a very successful commercial actor.
Chicago.
Makes his living as a commercial actor and a comedian. So he's an interesting guy. So we're posting his picture right now. You're looking at it right now if you're watching this on YouTube. And otherwise, you can
loves dogs, lives in Venice.
You can go to I don't know if this picture is on his Instagram account. But by the way, it's shot up. He's gotten several hundred new followers since we told people to go to his site. It's DGubs, DGUBS.
Power of this podcast, several hundred.
Several hundred.
I like it.
All right, I've been on the road all week, and I've been watching Dexter on Showtime. Oh, my God. I'd already seen season 1, so I watched season 2. It's so intense and so good. That guy is amazing.
I've heard I have to watch it. So how many seasons were before the break? Before they stopped making the show?
Before the break? Why do you call it the break?
Well, I mean, they're back. They're making shows again.
Oh,
so.
They are. I don't know how many seasons. Probably 5, 6.
Yeah, okay.
But there's a woman on there who I'm in love with, Jamie Murray. She's so gorgeous. And I like the girl that plays his girlfriend. I like the black police officer he's the guy who points at his own eyes and then points those same 2 fingers at you. That's his character. He's that guy.
He likes old bits.
Yep.
And the lead guy from 6 Feet Under, I mean, he played the gay brother in 6 Feet Under.
Yeah.
He's so talented.
Yeah.
Because he really was given, he's generic looking, right? I mean,
Very
like in
generic
a lineup,
looking, if
how would
not
you
unattractive almost.
Yeah, but I mean, in a lineup, I'd be like, he's a guy. He's a white guy. Like, seems kind of fit. What? Like, I would have a lot of trouble describing him. Yet, he breaks through. Like, he's just so compelling.
Yeah, yeah. It's just so well written.
Charismatic
It's a very
also.
well written show, well directed. We had a note. We had a letter from somebody, from a guy named Nate Hines. Mike Gibbons.
This killed me. This killed me.
Mike Gibbons needs a cynicism intervention after he panned the movie Coda. Coda is a great movie that offers an insightful view into the lives of deaf people trying to relate to the world and their own families through their disability. Any father who doesn't tear up during this movie is likely dead inside, and the movie contains the kind of genuine human laughs that come from living real life. Please. Help Mike get some help. It sounds like he's lost the ability to enjoy anything that is good and decent and instead deride it as an after-school special. Wow. You know what I like about this note? Some people go big and they really get kind of trolly. This guy kept it genuine. He is genuinely concerned about you.
And maybe I should be too. Like, now that I didn't like Euphoria, now I do. And you pointed out recently, I'm having trouble enjoying things and I'm too critical. So maybe there's a point here. But in fairness, I did call it Deaf Will Hunting, which is exactly what it is. And I'm sorry, it's too saccharine. It's too, it's crazy. And again, I'll repeat myself, but I did appreciate that they did not make the deaf people try to talk with a Boston accent, because that would have been over the top. That would have been just too much.
What's your feel-good guilty pleasure movie? What's one that really hit you that you didn't expect to and stays with you?
I mean, Breaking Away is one of my
but that's
all-time-
not a guilty pleasure. I'm talking about one that like you're like, wow, that was really, I shouldn't have liked that, and I did.
Here, Nate, I'll give you this, Nate. There were some scenes towards the end of Coda that were like heartwarming, but I had to suspend, that deadness inside me to enjoy it. But there were a couple of scenes.
All right.
I
haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna watch it this week just so I can see whether or not you really are cynical or whether it's the movie. I think I can be a good gauge of that.
No, it's, I mean, the over-the-top, singing coach and the whole, who somehow, I think, was married to a woman in the movie. You'll see what I mean. Anyway, you're going to say it's an after-school special.
Oh,
by the way, there are good after-school specials.
Speaking of guys like that, I was on the,
special means deaf. Go ahead.
I took the shuttle to the airport from my hotel in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I get on, and there's a flight attendant. There's a few flight attendants, and they're all chatting. They're all very chatty. So flight attendants really, they seem to make good friends with each other very quickly. And they get on, and she meets this guy that she hasn't met before. And I mean, this guy is so gay. His feet don't touch the ground when he walks. He is like, he is like a caricature of a gay man, which you go like, all right, flight attendant, kind of not to stereotype, but it's a job where you do see a fair percentage of homosexual men. And so they're talking, and he compliments her shoes, and then I forget what else they were talking about, but they were talking about gay subjects. And then she said that she has a 6-year-old, and he goes, "Oh, good for you. I have a 9, a 6, and a 2, and my wife is exhausted." I was like, it was one of those things where you literally almost stopped and go, "Wait a minute, hold on a second here. What's going on here?"
That's what you're gonna see in Coda. You're gonna be like, wait.
Yeah.
Where is the singing coach's partner, the teacher? And by partner, I would have said wife if I meant it. I mean partner.
Yeah, and when he said kids, I was like, okay, he's got a gay partner. And then he said wife, and I was like, oh man, is she in for a fucking wake up call soon?
So but this is very consistent with, I remember Christy, my girlfriend, back
Of course.
right. So we dated 5 years from 20 to 25 or something. And she's smarter than me, which was very clear. And
You guys were very adult in college. Like, I remember going to play it against Sam's for Sunday brunch, and you guys were sitting there and you were like playing checkers and reading the New York Times on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, thank God I regressed since then. But no, anyway, she's great. But I remember we went to see, and she was way better read and more intellectual than I. We went to see Good Will Hunting, and I'm like looking around like, is this really, like, are people really digging this? It was the biggest after-school special I'd ever seen in my life. And we left, and she was so offended. And I was like, wait, you like eat too, Christy? I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, you're supposed to be the one. I'm supposed to have fallen for this like drivel, and you're the one who's supposed to be like, that's been done a million times, and they did the cheapest, lowest common denominator. Oh, captain, my captain. But here's the thing. I guess in my defense, I wouldn't mind Good Will Hunting, and I wouldn't mind Coda, except when they get incredibly popular and critically acclaimed. Then what I'm doing is throwing a flag. You know what I mean?
How did you feel when Forrest Gump won the Oscar?
I was one of those people that felt it should not have won, for sure.
Yeah.
I've since been like, it's a pretty good movie. It's aged well, I think. But I just want something that's a little more stimulating and challenging, and not as predictable, and not wanting to be liked as much.
Right.
I don't think it's a hard thing to talk about because you write and perform jokes. I write jokes. The goal is to have them liked, you know what I mean? But then there's a line which is pandering.
Right. You want to draw people to your art. You want to do something that attracts people to it and has them work their way towards it and earn it, as opposed to hand them candy and just fucking throw it at them.
Yeah, or you're doing the absolute best story and you don't give a shit what people think about it, which is one approach to art, and many people say the approach. Okay, so Chris just wrote in, it beat Shawshank out. I guess this is Forrest Gump beat Shawshank. That's an after-school special competition if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
What were the other nominees that year?
Well, and Titanic was also a kind of an after-school special that won the Oscar.
Yeah, I mean, there's so very rarely does a really good work of art have mass appeal on the scale of Shawshank, Forrest Gump, Titanic, and stuff like that. I would then tell you Silence of the Lambs is one of the unbelievable exceptions, and I always, bring that up. But that was both incredibly popular and, in my opinion, a total work of art.
Yeah.
So, Chris, I'm dying to see what the other nominees were the year. What was it, 94? I remember where I saw it. I worked in MTV in Times Square, and I went down to see Forrest Gump in the theater that was in our building.
All right, here's a list of, I'm going to just go through the Oscar winners of the last few years, and you tell me whether they should have won. Or if it was, you say either winner or after school special.
I'm going to give gut reaction. Go ahead.
All right, Parasite.
I liked it.
Green Book.
But by the way, I don't know if it should have won both Oscars. I don't know. Go ahead.
Green Book.
Green Book. Piece of shit white hero movie. Go ahead.
After school special. The Shape of Water.
Totally didn't deserve it. Again, it's the Oscars are so terrified. It either has to be a diverse, and that was, the Mexican director who's awesome. Don't get me wrong. It did not deserve Best Picture.
I loved it. Moonlight.
Oh, holy shit. Okay, so Forrest Gump beat Pulp Fiction. Go fuck yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Even Four Weddings and a Funeral, I actually believe has more integrity.
Yeah. Moonlight.
Deserved it. My favorite movie that year.
Spotlight.
Even though it was diverse
it went
and all that.
Moonlight and then Spotlight the year before. 2 lights.
Spotlight was good, right? I mean,
Yeah, it was very good. Zach was in it.
yeah.
Birdman.
Oh, I mean, that was pretty creative. That challenged me. I liked it. I don't know if it deserved best movie, but I liked it.
12 Years a Slave.
I was working on a script called 12 Years a Slave Owner, so that to me was hard to enjoy because I wanted to see the other side. You know, there's 2 sides to every story.
Argo.
I mean, I guess it was okay, right?
No,
I mean,
it was terrible. It was
Was
terrible.
it? I don't know. But it's also what else was there?
I think it was a bad year. I remember that being a pretty dry year.
Oh, my God. Pulp Fiction lost. Holy crap.
I mean, I'm looking through the list. The last really great movie to come out that won an Oscar. Oh, God. No Country for Old Men, probably.
That's one of my favorite movies of the last 20 years. And even of all time, I just remember it had such an effect on me and was so well done. Hey, if anyone out there is ever, which is hard now, to be at a loss of like, hey, what should I watch? This is just out of nowhere, totally random, but it won. I remember being a little boy and seemingly every award, because it had a playful name that I was like, why is this movie? But it was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
If you have not seen that movie, we've talked about it before. It's a perfect movie.
Well, it's based on a perfect book by Ken Kesey.
Yep.
All right,
It's
let's
great.
get to hold on. Let's do some Florida Man.
Okay, where did my
I love that you're in a small closet and you always lose your paper. Like how big is your closet?
Oh my God, it goes way back. No, it's right here. I just have sweatshirts. It was under a sweatshirt, man. It was right here. I tucked it under there. Yeah. And then there's hats. All right. We got Florida Man. All right. Florida insurgent goes to jail. Adam Johnson, the Manatee County man who became a prominent face of the riot at the insurgency at the U.S. Capitol when he famously posed for a photo toting Nancy Pelosi's lectern, was sentenced Friday to 75 days in jail. In the days following the attack, Johnson boasted on social media about his presence there, writing that he, quote, broke the internet and was, quote, finally famous. What an idiot.
That's what you want going into prison. You want that fame. Yeah, that really helps you out a lot. Nothing better than hey guys, guess who I forced to give me a blowjob in a scary dark corner of the prison this morning? I'm still tingling. Still tingling.
I committed a crime on a federal level, and I'm going to put it all over my Facebook and Gram. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
As the mob breached barriers and fought with police, Johnson climbed scaffolding up the side of the building and made his way inside the Senate wing. He marched with others through an office. He posed for a photo, they had a picture of the photo in the article. So he's posing beside a sign in the Capitol, an official sign, like on like a brass like post thing, and it says closed to all tours, and he posted it to Facebook, and his caption was no. This is a child. I think the 4-year-old who shot at police had more wherewithal than this guy. And then I read the most disturbing part ever in the article, which was Johnson is a stay-at-home father of 5 who is married to a doctor.
Wow.
I mean, if I went to her, I'm assuming it's a woman. If I went to that doctor, I would stop going to that doctor now. This doctor does not make good decisions.
No, she's and when it says that he's a stay-at-home father of 5, that means he literally just stays at home. He doesn't go out. He doesn't shop. She gets shit on her way back from the office because he keeps going. Hey, honey, you wanted me to be a stay-at-home husband. That's what I'm doing.
The only part I'm on his side a little is fuck Nancy Pelosi's podium. In other words, I am the furthest thing from a fan of hers, so I like that he had fun with it. I do like that.
Well, he's going to have fun in prison. Let's do some international news.
If we must, here we go.
Hey, now,
Although I
we
think
must.
Ukraine covered a lot of that. Here we go.
I know, but this... This story is too good. It's a little long, but I'm going to read the whole thing, and you're going to stay with me. A Chinese man was nearly drained of all his blood by the time he escaped his captors in Chinookville City, Cambodia. The man, identified by his surname Lee, was kidnapped by a gang and used as a, quote, blood slave for months.
Oh, boy.
The gang reportedly took
Matrix.
27 ounces of blood from the 31-year-old man each month, leaving him just enough time to replenish his blood supply. It's believed that the gang sold the blood online to private buyers. He was drained of so much blood that his captors began drawing from his head as the veins in his arms could no longer supply enough blood. He managed to escape. He was in such poor physical health that he had multiple organ failure. His arms were bruised and covered with needle marks. Under a threat of being sold to organ harvesters, Lee was forced to let them take his blood. Oh, my God. Apparently he had type O blood,
crazy.
which is like very sought after. So they're like, oh, yeah. So they took more blood from him than the other 7 men that were in the room that they were also harvesting from.
Are they going to go back and get the other 7 men? Or, I mean, this is like Pulp Fiction. Like, you have a big choice to make. Do you go back in there?
Yeah, right.
Yes, you have to.
Right. Oh,
By the way,
my
with
God.
with medical technology, there's a lot more to harvest than the old, like, let's take your kidney and leave you in a tub of ice. It's like platelets, you know?
Yeah.
Gene therapy, like they could harvest the body for a lot more now. So I'm wondering if that stuff is happening. That's
Right.
crazy story.
It just, in a way, it's a feel-good story because no matter how bad your life is going, you are not being harvested for your blood with 7 other men alone in a room in China. You know?
Yeah.
And
What about you could, yeah.
They used electric prods on him and other captives to beat them into submission.
Wow.
Jesus.
I know, because you always hear those stories. You're like, I would have gotten out of there. And you're like, no, not so fast. What about what about a fat person farm? And what you do is you harvest their fat to put in like influencers' faces, you know, so you just take fat and you're like, all right, time to start eating. We'll see you in 3 weeks. We're going to take more fat out of you and put it in some model's cheeks.
And there would be like designer ones. Oh, you got some from Libby? Yeah. Oh, she's the best. That's good fat.
Yeah, they'd be rated totally.
Let's do some sports.
Okay, here we go. Let's do it.
Here's a story made for you, Mike Gibbons. A girl,
Why do you
soccer
say that?
player, she scored her own goal hat trick. In other words, she scored on her own team 3 times in the first half of the game.
Incredible. Incredible. I mean, is she still alive? I can't even imagine the shame. And I'm on her side with, like, that's awful.
I mean, 1 own goal in a season is unusual, but 3 in the first half of a game.
That's. But, you know, so did you see it?
No, did you?
I did. Well, I saw most of it. I tried to watch, but just like if she scored on the opponent's goal, it was so slow I couldn't stay with it.
Yeah, right.
When men score on themselves, it's fast, it's strong, it's just not like boring. I wonder if a man has ever. There are a lot of clips of dudes scoring on their own team. Is this the first time anyone scored 3?
It's got to be. I can't imagine. Because with men, you would get pulled after 1. They'd pull you out for the rest of the game. Definitely after 2.
Well, 1 was killed. The Colombian guy.
Oh, that's right.
He kicked it back to his goalie, I believe, and scored.
Yeah.
And
That's
organized crime killed him.
Yeah.
I think I have that right. I think there's a 30 for 30 on it, I believe.
There's a story.
Oh,
We got to do one Olympic story. There was the men's 50-kilometer mass start race at the Beijing Games was shortened to 30 kilometers, but that did little to help Finland's Remi Lindholm, who needed a heat pack at the end of the race to thaw out a particularly sensitive body part. He spent just under an hour and 16 minutes traversing the course in howling, freezing winds, leading to his penis becoming frozen for the second time in a cross-country ski race following a similar incident in Ruka, Finland last year. So, he froze his penis.
I didn't think that was possible.
You would think that his legs are moving back and forth and are warming. He must have a big penis that it was like hanging down that low.
There's something. He might have had a large penis because also your penis tries to crawl inside you. It definitely deactivates.
Mine
when
tries
it's
to
cold.
crawl inside of other people.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Well, he could have used yours. That would have helped him warm up, I think, a little bit. But, so his fingers weren't frozen. I guess maybe they had warm gloves. Normally, it's the extremities that are far from the torso.
Yeah. No,
which a penis is not.
Yeah. No, he's packing some Finnish heat. This guy.
Also, for those who don't know, the male genitalia is self-regulating with temperature. That's why, shrinkage and all that, like it is constantly trying to find the perfect temperature at which to produce and keep sperm alive. So
which
if
is
you are
cooler
too
than your
cold,
body temperature.
That's why it's hanging. That's why it's
Right.
hanging low.
That's correct.
But
Like
it
a
won't
cooler.
hang low if it's cold.
That's right.
If it's too cold. So I don't know. This story's weird. And why doesn't it happen to other guys?
Because this guy has the biggest dick at the Olympics. And, I think in the Olympic Village is going to be a lot of women that are like consoling him, seeing if there's anything they can do. Just checking in on him. All right,
Also,
let's get down to...
Also, we find out that it's hanging out. He's the one racer. It's just hanging out. He cut a hole and it's just hanging out of his pants. He asked for it.
Right.
Ooh, it
He's
happened
like-
a second time.
Yeah.
He's only raced twice.
It's like he's the Braveheart of cross-country skiing.
He can't swim because he gets abrasions from the bottom of the pool. So now he's in the Winter Olympics.
Plus, it hangs to the left. He kept swimming in circles. Let's do this day in history, Mike.
Okay, here it comes. Yes.
1922. Supreme Court defends women's voting rights. The 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution providing for female suffrage is unanimously declared constitutional by the 8 members of the Supreme Court. The 19th Amendment, which stated that the citizens of the U.S. to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex, was the product of over 7 decades of meetings, petitions, and protests by women suffragists and their supporters. So
Wow.
That's a big deal.
The first, before this, I think, I don't know the exact year, but Wyoming was the first state to allow women to vote. But the reason they did it, if I recall, is it was political. It was the cities wanted political control. And so there were ranchers not living in the city. And so all the women, of course, lived in the city. So they gave women the vote so the cities would have their way. I probably got half of that right.
Do you
but I do know it
remember?
was a political thing.
Do you remember on the Man Show when Jimmy and Adam went out and they got women to sign a petition to end women's suffrage?
Oh, no, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, and the women were all signing it on the boardwalk in Santa Monica or in Venice.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is pretty crazy. I mean, that they didn't let women vote till then. That's crazy.
It is pretty crazy. And now
I mean, when
women...
you look at when you look at our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence and, our America's philosophy.
Well, it took a long time. I wonder how we did in relation to other countries. I think we were one of the later countries in the developed world to allow women to vote.
When did they let them get driver's license? That's what I'm interested in.
Hey, now.
Not late enough.
All right, let's do some letters to the editor.
Okay, here we go. New section. All right.
All right, let's go down to every time I hear you guys talk about Wordle, I want to tell them about all the derivative games from it. There's Quordle, where you solve 4 words with 9 guesses. You have Octortle, which is 8 words. And then there's loodlegame.com because it is five. It's a 5-letter word that's lewd, pussy, prick, dildo. So
wow.
Maybe I'll try lewdgame.com.
Yeah.
It's called loodlegame.com.
Yeah. How'd you do on Wordle today?
I got it in 3, but I should have got it in 2. I got like 3 letters in the right place on the first guess, and
that's impressive. We can
was a
say
coin
it because.
Oh yeah, we can say it. It was.
It's not going to spoil it. It's Saturdays. I got it in 4.
Was it still? Or spill? It was either still.
I think
or
it was
spill.
that. No,
And
it was still.
Yeah, and I put and
no
so my
spill.
So my second guess was still. And then my third guess
How?
was spill. Because I guessed, my first guess was slice. So I got.
Wow.
So I got
SLI.
Yeah.
But the double letters are tricky. Those throw people.
Yeah, I had SLI and S and I were in the right place. So yeah, so I guess still on the second one. But Aaron got it in 2 today.
Wow.
Yeah.
My third guess was slick, and then I wound up with spill. But it also could have been another word. I forget. I'm like, it was a coin toss there also.
Tom O'Neill is in a slump. He used to be a solid 3 for 6, sometimes 2 for 6. He's been 5 for 6 the last 4 days. I'm worried about him.
Earlier this week, I had 2 for 6s.
Really?
Yeah.
What was your first word on those?
Soar, SOARE.
Oh, well, that's bullshit.
Or a rise. You could do a rise.
I did raise for a while.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
RAI. Yeah, raise is a great first word. I don't understand how people can then ignore, let's say you get your S and E and stuff like that in the first. I don't know how people ignore the T in the second word. What are you doing?
I know. You got to get the T, the S, the R, and the vowels.
Yeah. Although people, I read one theory. I haven't taken a deep dive since I found a good first word, but people are like, this is interesting. I read one woman said she doesn't do vowels because vowels are more intuitive than consonants, and she pointed as an example.
Yeah.
She pointed to an example of license plates that just remove all the vowels and you still know what it says.
Right.
And so there's something to that. But you have to find words. So I forget what her word was, but it had one vowel, I think, was her first guess.
So what were the 2 words you got using soar as the first word?
So this is what I do. I do something, and I bet purists might call it cheating. So when I have gotten in trouble before is when I try to guess the word on the second one.
Yeah.
And instead of just finding more letters, I know this is very boring to some people. So I put SOARE, right? And the only word that was green or in the word at all was S.
So then you don't use S in the second word.
I don't use S. So my second word was unlit, UNLIT. So now with those two words, I've done AEIOU, and I've also done SRNLT. So I've really cornered the market on the most, and then I was like, okay, it begins with S and it has an L and an I. I correctly guessed it's going to be SLI.
All right, this has got to be unbearably boring for people right now.
And I put slick. Then I sliced my wrist and it spilled out of me.
This is from Joshua. What are we doing? What just happened? What was the last 3 minutes of this podcast?
So then I thought vowel. Nerd alert.
This is from Daniel from Canada. Took over my Mormon neighbor's TV when I was streaming porn from my phone to my TV, and all his kids saw it. He called the cops on me. Let it be known that your smartphone can take over your neighbor's TV. Wow.
That's dangerous. Well, that's what. So I got a new Apple TV, like let's say a year ago or something, and I didn't name it, and then I did name it, but I named it Living Room, and so I was engaging in the same activity as this guy, and I then had a choice, and there were two living rooms. Like I was gonna mirror from my phone, and there were two Apple TVs listed that both said living room. Like, not worth it. Not worth it.
Right.
I got to go make that Mike's living room.
I list my my next door neighbor is named Danny, and I list my internet Wi-Fi title is Danny Sucks. And he's never said anything to me about it. There's no way he hasn't seen it.
Yeah, because you have to see them, like, your power goes out for a second, whatever it is, or something, or a new person comes over. His guests must. No, he has to. Because the guest comes over, he's like, "Let me guess, it's Danny Sucks." No.
Let's do the obituaries. We have to do it.
Here we go, obituaries.
And that's all, folks.
All right.
The amazing Jonathan died.
Oh.
Who was a great, great comedian, magician. He was an anomaly. He was a guy that really brought together magic and comedy like nobody's business. He was really successful. He started out on the streets of San Francisco, and then was on TV shows like Letterman a lot. He did Comic Strip Live a lot. He was on the Weird Al Show. He did something. He did something like 25 appearances on Comic Strip Live, I think. But his big run was when he got to Vegas, and he headlined Vegas for like 14 years or something, and then he got diagnosed, and they made a really cool documentary about him. Two documentaries about him.
I remember hearing he was a goner, basically.
Well, that was the point of the documentary, is it was showing him dying, and then he lived like another 7 years after that. So he was super talented, super cool dude. So he was called the Freddy Krueger of comedy.
Did Steve Byrne do a documentary on him? The comedian?
He might have. I think he might. I know a comedian did one. I don't know if it was Steve Byrne.
Yeah.
But
that's too bad. I remember seeing him. The hardest I laughed in that documentary, The Aristocrats, was when he told that joke, which we've told before, about the gorilla having sex with the lion in the zoo.
Yeah.
He for some reason, the documentary, The Aristocrats, went into what are great jokes that like live on forever. And I guess whatever. In case you haven't, I guess now it would be rude not to say it, even though many of our listeners have heard it. The very fast version is this gorilla goes, you see the lion sleeping over there in this cage, in this, area. I'm going to go over there and fuck that lion up the ass. He's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. So he runs over, mounts the sleeping lion from behind, quickly fucks it up the ass, and runs. The lion goes ballistic and fucking chases after him. The gorilla runs into the reptile house, and there's a security guard there, and he pummels the security guard, dresses in the security guard's clothes, and pulls up the newspaper and hides his face. The lion comes tearing in, and he goes, "Hey, did you see a gorilla run through here?" And the gorilla goes, "You mean the one that fucked the lion up the ass?" And the lion goes, "It's in the papers already."
Such a great joke.
It's such a great joke.
Yeah. Yes, Steve Byrne did direct it. Oh, it was called Always Amazing, the true story of the life and death of the Amazing Jonathan.
Steve Byrne's
So
a
check
nice
it out.
guy, and I know he appreciated him. Amazing Jonathan, I never met a comic that had a bad thing to say about him.
Yeah,
He was respected.
he was very respected and hardworking dude. To be honest, I watched the documentary. I don't remember it that well, but I got to watch it again now. I feel bad. I must have been high when I watched it. I don't remember it. Let's do the funnies. We always cheer up by doing the Sunday funnies right after the obituaries.
Here it comes. I was going to retire, and maybe I will, but I'm going to go grab Family Circus as you're talking now. So I'm going to be a little
there
distracted.
you go.
But go ahead. I forgot to
All
grab it. I think I'm done with them.
All right, the Lockhorns.
I
The
love them.
Lockhorns. He's Leroy is opening up the
You're
kitchen
struggling.
fridge, and he's talking to his friend, and he goes, "Marriage has its ups and downs, so I'm always up for downing a beer."
All right.
And then there's another one where he looks at her. They're eating dinner, and he looks at her, and he goes, "This chicken a la king isn't fit for a surf."
A lot of wordplay today. A lot of wordplay from them.
Sometimes the Lockhorns gets a little wordplay. But that's all right. It's math.
It's witty.
It's mathematical
It's witty.
comedy.
They're trying, goddammit, unlike the piece of shit that I just found. Go ahead.
So now let's go to Hagar the Horrible, where his wife, Helga, has a fur coat, and she's putting it on, and she goes, "I love this warm fur coat you gave me. I'm going to wear it into town." And then Hagar looks at her, and he goes, "Wear it inside out. The Duchess may still be looking for it. You know, the one we raped and killed to get that coat. There's still blood on it. Here's this coat, honey."
I think that's a nice cover because I don't think the Duchess is still alive or has
Yeah,
maybe
right.
the wherewithal to know she's missing a. That's the least of her problems.
Yeah, right.
I think he's kind of like, I took it very. It was an agreement. I took the coat, so
Yeah.
she's still very aware, and she'll still want it back and be angry. Okay, this is Family Circus. It's the mother sitting in church, and her shitty little kids are all around her, and the little girl. Speaking of wordplay, the little girl gets up on the bench and whispers in the mother's ear, "How much longer until we goeth home?"
That's not bad. That is not bad.
Okay, this is the difference. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. It's very funny if the kid rolls her eyes after saying that, like mocking the language. Of course, that's not how Keene meant it. Keene meant it like, "Oh, goeth is a real word. I should use goeth." Him and a sincere, "Mommy, how much time until we goeth home?" Not pointing out or mocking the biblical language at all.
Right.
That's the difference.
Because
They got lucky. They got lucky.
I would have done a joke like that as a kid with an eye roll, and I would have gotten a solid laugh and probably gotten out of church early. My mom would have respected it enough to get us up and out of there.
Yeah. I mean, if she leans over to the mom and goes, "I wish Dad would let me get killed," or some other little biblical story that would work like that.
I got an 11th commandment. Wrap it up.
Right. That's exactly when it's funny, when it's delivered that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh
so
my God, yeah.
Blondie comes in the front door, and she's dressed business casual, which I'm not a fan of. And she says, honey, where are you? I think the sofa might be a good bet. She walks in. Dagwood is laying on the couch because she's out, and that's what husbands do, apparently. When wives are out, they lay on the couch, and they magically sleep. You see it all the time. Of all the marriages I know, that's all that happens when the wife goes out, is the man sleeps on the couch. Dear, it looks like you forgot to put the chicken in while I was out. Oh, sorry, honey. And she goes, I'll see what else I can come up with for dinner. And then she walks out of the room, and he goes, after the ball game I was over, I decided to have a quick cat nap. I ate a big turkey sandwich, and I guess didn't help me sleep. Once my head hits the pillow, I was a goner. Honey, did you hear what I said? Blondie? And she's ignoring him, and he goes, what a waste of perfectly good alibis. You fucking piece of shit. Are any of those good alibis that you ate a turkey sandwich and fell asleep? That's an alibi for a woman. She's wearing business casual, which means she was at her catering company working and making probably more money than you are. All you had to do was put the fucking chicken in the oven. Piece of shit.
Which she prepared, undoubtedly.
Oh, yeah. It was already rubbed. There was a salt rub. It was laid out on the pan. All he had to do was fucking place it inside the oven.
What
But
you would
you-
pay to see Blondie rub a chicken?
Oh, rub my chicken, Blondie.
If you lived in that town, you'd be hiring a catering company constantly.
Oh,
Do
yeah, I'd
you
be
make
throwing
your
parties.
own sausages, Blondie? Can
Yeah,
you peel carrots? I'll just pay you to peel carrots in front of me.
Yeah. Can you scrub potatoes while I watch? All right, listen, Mike, we've done it. We're in 2 different cities, but once again, we've done it.
Yes.
The contest is on for Gubbins. Ladies, if you're interested, please send us an email at fitzdogradio@gmail.com. We're going to get together, I don't know, 3 ladies, 3 or 4. And,
You're predicting that many people are going to come on board.
we'll see. I think we have a lot of single ladies that listen to this podcast. And you
Well-
don't have to live in the LA area, because if you win the contest, we will fly Dennis Gubbins to your shit town, and you will hang out with him for as long as you like. For him, it's a free
he
place
has-
to stay. He'll sublet his place on Airbnb while he goes and visits you.
He has no baggage. There's no previous marriage. There's no children that he knows of. So there's also another way of saying that, which is he has nothing going on.
Yes, he's free as a bird. All right, we want to thank Midcoast Media for doing an excellent job. Key and Chris and Beth, thank you again. And Mike, anything
Yeah.
you want to promote?
No. Wow, I should promote something. How about world peace?
Let's promote world peace, and let's also promote Keith Jarrett has an album that's called Colne, January
Oh, my
24th,
God, of course.
1975. Oh, I've been listening to
told you,
that all
my
weekend.
uncle bought that for me.
Such a great album.
It's really great. Yep, all the feels, that guy. You could hear him like yell as he's playing piano. Alrighty, man. Enjoy Lexington and then Oklahoma, was it?
Omaha, Nebraska. And then I will be
Right.
back in LA. I'll see you on Monday or Tuesday. I think we're going to the beach on Tuesday, right?
You shouldn't go public with that. No, we're working hard at our jobs and trying
That's
to
right.
find jobs.
That's right.
And we'll look, and we may have a writing session on the beach.
Yeah, right. All right, we'll see you later.
Take it, Ish.
Take it easy.
Years in the making, stand up right down, life's undertaking, we're along for the ride, perspectives from the stage and showbiz inside. Sunday, making paper, rustle in the background. Sunday, listen to the rustle now. drinking, cause you gotta stay clear to get what Mike is thinking. And Mike's job is just as tough as sit around and figure out when enough is enough. Sunday, making papers, rustle in the background. Listen to the muscle now.